Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning to you wherever you're watching us from, and welcome to this another edition of one of your favorite programs, Innovative Dentistry. As usual, we're coming to you live from TBN Studios right here in Georgetown. That is 126 Luluni Street, Queenstown, Georgetown. And it was a fantastic day today, nice and sunny, lots going on out there. And yesterday it was Pagua. It was amazing from the pictures I saw. I didn't go out there, but I saw some pictures from the stadium and so on, man. There were thousands of people out there, and it's good to hear. Well, what I would not have seen anything negative in the news today, which means that it would have been a good holy celebration. And that's what we are. We had MASH the other day, everybody celebrated, and it was unity amongst the people, people of all races, creed, culture, religious backgrounds were were out there for MASH. And yesterday for Pagua, it was the same thing. And we use our platforms, whether we are talking about dentistry or anything else, anything in news, we use our platforms to say to people that it's, as Guyanese, we have to unite, we have to be one. We have to be as if it's MASH day every day, and as if we're playing Pagua every day. Let our colors that we use on Pagua Day and MASH Day and so on be the only thing that defines us, and not the color, and not see any other color, because we are not that type. We're better than that, and as Guyanese, we have to start living as that. But again, that's just my take on things, and as you know, this program is about dentistry. So having in studio again here tonight the one and only Dr. Pico. Dr. Pico,
hello,
welcome.
sir.
How are you doing?
So much.
Did you play Pagua yesterday?
No, not really. I had to work yesterday.
You had to work.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good thing, That's a good thing if you're working on a holiday. That's a good thing. But I remembered seeing you at Everest Cricket Club a couple of years ago with at Pagua for Pagua celebration at Everest. I don't think I recognized you right when you came, and I don't know who saw who, but it had to have taken some sort of deciphering of understanding who is this person, because it was really an amazing experience, when you go out there to play Pagua, and you have you understand this. It's a real festival of colors. And what was your experience?
I like that celebration. I like it a lot. But unfortunately, yesterday I have to work. So next year I will play.
Next year, me, you go next year. Next year for sure we go in. We're gonna be going live next year. I want to say good night to Natasha Khan. Thank you for joining us. We would have dealt with a number of things, and a few weeks ago, one of our favorite, our favorite fans out of Berbice, Kevin, he's always watching us. He's always giving us feedbacks and so on.
Thank you so much.
And he was the one who asked about. Mentioned that he had a problem with a wisdom tooth. And the wisdom tooth was that it was now coming out. He's in his late 20s, I believe, mid to late 20s. This wisdom tooth is coming out, and it has not fully come through the gum. It's there and it's painful, and he doesn't know what to do. And tonight's topic, we're dealing with the wisdom tooth, or wisdom teeth. Yeah. First of all, I would like to ask you, how this term wisdom tooth came about, and what is the genesis behind that term?
The term of wisdom teeth, that the right name in the professional field of dentistry is the third molar, came because this type of molars are coming out usually when the person already get wisdom, spiritually speaking. So it's a tooth that is coming out usually when the person arrive to near to the 20th years, or like a 20, 21, 22. So it's a period of time in which mostly everybody get what we call wisdom. Okay, so that is why the term of wisdom teeth. Why this? There are 4 set of teeth, 2 on the upper jaw and 2 on the bottom jaw, of course, right and left side. And why this set of teeth are so noticeable or famous is because usually nowadays there is not a space in our mouth to keep them, and mostly the majority of people are having issues um, getting the space, enough space to keep and to receive these wisdom teeth. So usually the wisdom teeth get impacted, giving some issues that are sometimes very painful or uncomfortable, and also that can end up into some real troubles later on. That we will speak about that um, more
Later.
later on during the show. So, but why? Why actually we don't have a space for the wisdom teeth? Why our bone, let's go to say our upper jaw and our lower jaw are not enough to keep these tooth? Uh,
Is it a similar situation? Because while you're telling me about this, the first thing I start thinking is that, is it because the wisdom tooth is not quote unquote necessary to us now? Like how there is um, a theory to say that the appendix in our bodies is not necessarily needed in our bodies now. It's there. It's serving no purpose. It gets inflamed because stuff gets into it. It really is it's a humbug in many ways, and medically it creates lots of problems. You know, food get trapped there, and then you have to do not, you have you be, what becomes an appendicitis, and then you have to go to have an operation. You have to have it removed, and many times that particular instance of appendicitis becomes um, fatal. A lot. I know people who died from that because they would not have.
exactly, you are.
So I'm thinking maybe it during the evolutionary process.
Uh-huh.
So
So I love when you do this type of things to me.
okay.
Yes, that is the reason why. I have a picture here on the computer, so we can see the screen
Uh-huh.
to show that it's a problem is with our evolution as a human being.
Mm.
So you can see here some of our ancestors, no,
Mm.
in which you can notice that the jaw, the upper and the lower, were big jaw. Okay, so there is enough space to keep 32 set of teeth in this big jaw. Reason why? Because in this period of time we didn't use our hands when we were in a primitive stage. We were not using our hands. We were using our mouth to keep the food and climb on the trees, and so we were not humans in that period of time. Okay, so as that was not a monkey. That anthropomorphous human being was evolving.
Yeah.
Then once we start using our hands to hold instruments, once we discover the fire and we start cooking our food, we don't need strong jaw to keep our teeth. So the jaw start reducing, and however we keep the set of 32 teeth. Reason why nowadays, once we evolve into the actual human being and we have a lot of processed food, everything is soft, everything is already made, we don't need to chew and crunch the food so hard. So that is why the the lower and the upper jaw reduce the size, but however we keep the same set of 32 teeth as initially. So because there are genes that express the amount of teeth, and there are other genes controlling the size of our jaw. Those genes are not working together, so we're still keeping 32 teeth, in which the wisdom teeth are included there, and but however the size of our jaw that has to keep those teeth reduce with the pass of the time. Same thing with the appendix, as you say. our intestine used to be long because we used to be vegetarian, but since we become uh,
Meat eater.
uh, yes, we eat meat and we eat
Omnivorous.
omnivorous, exactly.
Yeah.
That is a word. Then the length of our intestine reduced, and the appendix is that reminiscence of what how was in the past the intestine. So it's the same thing with the wisdom teeth. So we're still keeping those teeth that are coming out in a period of time in which all our teeth are out in our mouth. So usually there is not a space. There is not a space to keep them. So that is why reason why they get impacted. Okay, and reason why it's necessary to remove them once you don't have a space for the wisdom teeth.
There are different train of thoughts as it relates to the evolutionary process and so on. What some people may not agree with is that the evolutionary process came from where it was and all of that. That's a different type of debate and so on, because the Darwin theory of evolution and as so and this the law of natural selection and all these kind of things. It's a huge topic,
Mm-hmm.
but one cannot dispute the fact that we did live, irrespective whether we were created. We evolved from something else and became Neanderthals and into modern Homo sapiens and all that. The, what we cannot deny the fact is that we did live in caves at some time, our ancestors. So indeed, they would have had to be eating a certain way. There are multiple finds of in caves of skeletal remains to say that Neanderthals did live in these caves. And why I'm clarifying this point to say, because there, as I said, there are people who might be watching the program who will have a different train of thought as it relates to the evolutionary process. But we would have gone through the process over a number of, so many thousands of years. And food changed
Mm-hmm.
the way we look, food changed the way we did things, food changed the way we think, because our brains adapted to the nutrients and the nutritional values that we are adding to our
In fact,
bodies.
sorry to interrupt you
Yeah.
there because you said something important. The way that we change our eating habits while we were evolving make us what we are today. Because as soon we left the vegetarian
Lifestyle.
lifestyle in that period of time, and that doesn't mean that eating vegetable is not good. But as soon we increase the incomes of protein, our brain develop. We started to think, to get conscious, and then right now we are here.
And then we found a way to start taking the fish out the water,
Uh-huh.
and that added something else to us.
Exactly.
And in the process of all of this, our eating habits changed. I don't know if as what we call the canines,
Mhm.
were even longer in our distant
Exactly.
mothers and fathers, our ancestors. There was no need for us to tear meat anymore, so that subsided.
Because we started to cook our food.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But here is my problem now. We are eating so many soft foods now.
Mhm.
Is there anything to be worried about that we are, because we are eating so much of processed food, we're reaching to so much of soft food and all these things, that we don't use our teeth. We don't use our teeth the way they were meant to be.
Mhm.
And if we would have gone through evolutionary changes over a period of time because of the way we changed the way we were eating, then are we going to see based on scientific studies and reasoning, are we going to see maybe sometime in the next year people hardly got teeth because you already need teeth?
Exactly. So, and it's something very interesting to see how some people they develop really teeny and small wisdom teeth, when you see a person that is having a it's like a how to say, it's like a piece of white, something small.
Yeah,
That person is one step forward in the evolution,
in the evolutionary
because
process.
that means that if that person get to mix
Procreate and make a,
procreate
yeah, yeah.
with another person with a teeny wisdom tooth, that means that probably that set
They
of
might
people
not even have it.
they will not come with wisdom
Yeah.
tooth, and that is happening right today.
You see cases like that.
Exactly. I couldn't find in my my records picture of that, because I took picture of the teeth are teeny tooth with one root, only one root. They are not even molars.
Wow, wow.
So that means that those people are in the evolutionary process one step forward than anybody else.
All right, good.
Because that is the situation is that the eating habits, that the modern eating habits in which we are eating so many processed food, as you say, we don't need so much teeth anymore. So that is happening. So what I want to show here in the next
So before you go on,
yeah.
why I'm glad that you went through that there, because I wanted to get from you the genesis, the origin, the where this name came about from, and how this tooth came about, and why is it that it's going through this process, that it's it's almost going away.
Mhm.
And that is why I know we took a lengthy time to get that, but for our viewers out there, it's good that they have an understanding also.
Yeah. We're here to explain everything.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to show how are looking the wisdom teeth once are impacted in a panoramic X-ray. So we can see on the screen a panoramic X-ray showing 3 wisdom teeth impacted. The one here on the left hand side, which is the number 18, is really bad impacted because the crown is hitting the cervical area of the tooth that is right in front. Also, the 48, which is the one on the bottom left hand side, is also really bad impacted because there is no room, there is no space for this tooth to come out, since we can see that the crown is right impacted against the tooth that is next door. Same thing with the opposite wisdom tooth, and the only one that is in position is the one here on the upper jaw right hand side. Is in position, is out. So this one, there is no issue with this wisdom tooth. But now, if you have an impacted tooth, what type of problems this situation can bring? Once you have a tooth that is trying to come out, this happens usually when the active period of time in which the wisdom teeth are pushing to come out start since the person arrived to the 16 years old. Some people also, because of the diet that we are having these days, full of meat with hormones and so, this process can start even when the person reaches to 14 years old. But usually it's between 16 to 18 years old when the wisdom teeth start pushing to come out. And in that case, if there is not a space, the person will start feeling pain. Pain because the tooth is doing pressure, discomfort on that area, right at the back of our teeth. And also, you will notice that the alignment of the teeth will change. The teeth that used to be straight, maybe the person will notice that the teeth start rotating. Okay, and I have some image here to show how the teeth are. We can see here on the screen how the teeth are no longer aligned, because this person is in the period of during the age in which the wisdom teeth are putting pressure from the back of the mouth,
Just pushing everything out.
and pushing all the rest of the teeth out of the arch. So once you don't have a space, and the wisdom tooth is trying to create that space, then this situation will happen. Usually, when you see a case like this, the wisdom teeth are impacted, are not even visible in the mouth. And if you take an X-ray, you will notice the same situation that we saw on the previous X-ray. So there is not a space, and this tooth will not come out. But let's go to say that, okay, the wisdom tooth create a little space, and the person is not having any issue to keep the mouth in this condition with all this set of crowded teeth. But still, the wisdom tooth can give you problems, because if just a little piece of the wisdom tooth get to show up on the outside of the mouth, it's just a little piece. In that area, food can remain, and it's impossible for the person to remove that food by using anything. The food will go into that little hole and will start getting spoiled, because
Decay,
as I say, we have bacteria, something that we are all the time in all the shows mostly
we talk about it.
talking about this, about the bacteria that are living in our mouth, that those bacteria are good once there is a balance. But since you have a little hole back of your mouth, having a little space in which that was created by the wisdom tooth, then food can go in there, and that can cause problems later on. That can cause decay for the tooth that is next door, decay on the wisdom tooth itself, and of course, since the dentist is not able to go in there and fix that problem, if the process continues, that decay will bring.
No, put up back that image there. Yeah,
One.
the same one.
Mm-hmm.
So this image
This is another type of accident that can happen once the wisdom tooth is trying to come out. So the decay on the tooth that is nearby the wisdom tooth, or even in the wisdom tooth, is another type of complication. But this also is that we call pericoronaritis, is the inflammation of the flesh that usually covers partially the wisdom tooth. So once the wisdom tooth is trying to come out of the mouth, out in the mouth, sorry, and is not able to do so because of the lack of space, the little flesh that is covering that wisdom tooth will get inflamed, because food can go in a little pocket under that flesh. Once the food gets spoiled, then the gum will get inflamed, creating this situation, which is very painful.
And
It's
this,
very painful.
and it's a very common, something very common, right?
It's a common situation in young people.
Yeah.
People from over 18 years old, but also even in people of a little more age, because if you don't remove the wisdom tooth and this situation remains there for a long time, then the pericoronaritis will be happening on and off till you remove the wisdom tooth.
Now is a good time to remind our viewers and all the patients of innovative dental care that there is Dr. Pico has a promotion going on at Innovative Dental Care, and it's there is an ad out there for it, so I guess I can say the price here.
Yeah.
Because there's an ad. We usually don't say prices, but there is an ad up on the Guyanese Critic page. Actually, it's just $8,000 for cleaning. You can call and you can make an appointment. This promotion runs until the end of March, but it's better to book early, because you want to ensure that you have the time that you want to get in there. You go in there and get it done. This promotion is his way of saying thank you also, and to all the people that are viewing this program. You can book an appointment, the numbers are running at the bottom of the screen. You can send a WhatsApp message or you can call tomorrow and book an appointment. I want to say good evening to Regina Ramcharan out of Florida watching. I think it's Orlando. So good night to you. And so that these are issues that we're having. And as we go through these issues, I would obviously you will have to see at the end of this program, what is it that innovative dental care can do to alleviate these complicated situations that you would have with wisdom tooth or wisdom teeth.
Yes, exactly. So on the screen again, one image of one of the complications, which is the one cavity created on the near tooth because of an impacted wisdom tooth. So as you can see, or as the viewer can see here, the crown of the wisdom tooth was impacted directly into a cavity that was created because the food that was getting attached in between the two teeth. And as the cavity was growing, then the wisdom tooth was getting the space inside of that cavity to try to move out of the and grow outside of the mouth. So this is one of the complications that we were talking about related to wisdom tooth. The image before, which is the pericoronaritis, let me go and change it. So this image here is a very common complication of the unimpacted wisdom tooth. It's very painful, and when it's really swollen, even pus can come out of that pocket between that is there between the crown of the wisdom tooth and the flesh that is covering this tooth. Once it's inflamed, the person will not be able to open the mouth properly. Everything is once the person tries to do anything like chew or speak, since the area is near to the throat and it's inflamed, the person will not be able to speak properly, to chew anything, because as soon as the patient tries to close the mouth, that area which is inflamed will touch first than any other area in the mouth, and the person will not be able to close the mouth properly.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. The throat will be inflamed. All the lymph nodes on the area that is affected will be inflamed. The person will get sometimes fever, okay, headaches, and some other symptoms related to an infection. Okay.
And if you're having this situation, because our guy from Berbice, from what he told me, I think this was the situation he was having, right? This was a situation that was very painful for him. This happens to you, let's say, you start getting serious pain with this area at, let's say, 8 o'clock in the night. You can't reach the dental office. You can't reach anywhere. But you gotta wait until next morning to have this, to get to this place. And for some reason you bite down on it. Some food get there, some hard bit of feeling. You clamp on it, and it really just painful. What do you do?
So this type
until
of
next morning?
This type of pericoronaritis is something that happens in a cycle. So once you get the treatment to treat the pain, the acute process that is happening, all the symptoms will disappear in a relative fast way. But see, if you don't remove the wisdom tooth, which is the cause of this process, then in a couple weeks or maybe next month, the whole situation will happen again. The food will get attached under the pocket, creating the pericoronitis, and the whole cycle will be coming back again. Okay. So once you have this acute situation, what is advisable is to make a gargle of a mix of peroxide, water, 2% of course, like 2 fingers of peroxide and 2 fingers of warm water, and make a rinse your mouth or gargle with that solution, because why?
Kills the bacteria.
The oxygen will go in the pocket. The majority of the bacteria living in there are anaerobic, meaning the bacteria are happy in an environment without oxygen.
Yeah.
And when you provide oxygen in that area, you will kill those bacteria right away, and then the inflammation will decrease immediately. Okay? So, once that situation is no longer there, the person has to seek for attention and start thinking to remove the wisdom teeth. Because if you don't remove the wisdom teeth, then next month the situation will happen again. Okay?
You're going through life normally, normal. There is no problem with the wisdom tooth or anything like that. You're not having some issues. Will issues develop later down, or do people go through their lives without having to remove their wisdom tooth? Because ultimately, the decision will have to be when you reach a certain age and you start having wisdom tooth and it's giving you some problem. The decision will be yours at some time or the other to say, you know what, I'll have to go take out my wisdom tooth, because first of all, they may not be serving any purpose in my mouth at this point in time, and they can develop complications. Or is it that sometimes people go through, because I believe some people go through their entire lives without having real issues? So what is that? What is the dentist's advice?
That depends on the situation, because if the wisdom tooth is there are different levels of impactation. There are wisdom tooth right in position. If that is the case, you don't have to do anything, because the wisdom tooth is in a good position, in a proper position. There is no mechanical issue, there is no infection, there is no pain, so the wisdom tooth can stay. If you are able to brush the tooth, if the dental brush can reach in there, and you are able to keep that area clean, you don't have to remove your wisdom tooth.
Right.
However, there are some other people in which the wisdom teeth are slightly inclined. Okay, but still, if you can pass a dental floss in that area, and if you can brush the area and keep the area clean, there is not also an issue there. Now, when the wisdom tooth is impacted a little more, that is creating a gap in which no dental floss can reach, the dental brush cannot reach, then you have to start thinking to remove that wisdom tooth, even if it's not giving you problems, because you don't know what is developing in there. You don't know if any cavity is developing there, and then later on, once you have a cavity already, will be difficult to perform any surgical procedure. Okay, because usually once you have an abscess, for example, due to a cavity, and you cannot treat the cavity because the cavity is in the wisdom tooth or is on the tooth next door, it's not possible to treat that well, and then to perform a surgical procedure in that condition is very painful, because anesthetic will not work. So you will need to go into a cycle of antibiotics and a lot of medication to cool down the area. Once there is no sign of abscess or infection, then you can perform the surgical procedure.
And that is why I asked that particular question. It may seem kind of straightforward that I should not, that if you don't have problems, but the reason I asked that question, because I want our viewers to understand that even though it may seem like everything is okay with that wisdom tooth, as long as you can't do the things that you just said to do, if you can't reach the back there to get a floss in between, you can't get a brush it and so on, then the chances of it becoming inflamed or developing a cavity or an abscess, it's a possibility. So it's better to have it looked after. I'm sure the advice is, when you go to visit your dentist, you ask your dentist what do you think of my wisdom tooth? What do you think? Are they okay? Do they need intervention? What is it that they need?
Exactly. With a checkup, that is why we advise to get a checkup at least twice a year, because in 6 months, every 6 months, we can check
Mm.
if the wisdom tooth is coming out and it's not there. After 6 months, the something will happen. You will notice if there is a space, the wisdom tooth will come out properly, or will still coming out. Or if there is not a space, you will notice after 6 months that the teeth that were aligned are not longer aligned because there is not a space for the wisdom tooth. So in that case, we will advise to the patient to do something about it. Okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also it's something that, for example, in patients that are doing braces treatment, sometimes it's necessary at the beginning as a first intervention to remove the wisdom tooth. Because if you are trying to align the teeth and you have something at the back of your mouth pushing to come out, then the braces treatment will not really work. Because while you are trying to align the teeth using brackets and wires at the front and ligatures and so, you have something at the back that is pushing, spoiling that treatment. So usually, not all the time, but frequently, before going into braces,
They remove
you
it.
have to remove your wisdom
Yes,
tooth.
yes. I know that for a fact because this I've been privy to somebody who has had a braces done for a couple of years ago. As a matter of fact, the kid had his braces removed only a week or two ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had his braces removed, and his mom was keeping me up to date and telling me about what is the next process, what's the next process. And I remember when he had to go take out the four
For wisdom.
wisdom teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that. So I know that for a fact that it would have impacted his braces. I want to say goodnight to Sunita Ramrup, Benny Gangaram, Elizabeth Prasad, and Ingrid Caldwell. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. So interesting topic again tonight, as usual. What else do we have impacting in the?
So another situation that there are some people that the wisdom teeth are so impacted
Mhm.
that are not even visible on the mouth. There is no piece, there is no evidence that any wisdom tooth is there. And in that case, if you keep an impacted tooth for a long time, there is a sac that is covering all our tooth while the tooth are growing. That happened to all our tooth. All our tooth are starting growing inside of a little sac. And that sac is full of cells that are in charge to form our teeth. So the wisdom teeth are also, as part of
The
our mouth,
process.
they have a sac.
Mhm.
If once the tooth is totally formed, if you don't remove those teeth that are really impacted, the cells inside of that sac will start producing a liquid, and that area will become into a cyst. And that is the next image picture that I want to show to our viewers, how a wisdom tooth that was impacted for a long time developed a cyst in that area. So, and that is a really difficult situation, because once you reach to that stage, the cyst will grow, pushing the wisdom tooth, pushing the rest of the teeth, and creating a point in which it's easy for our jaw to break under any impact on the jaw. So I have here a next image here in which a person, after an accident that in which the jaw received an impact, the jaw break right in the area in which the wisdom tooth was impacted with the cyst, because in that area the bone is not so thick, so the bone is not strong to resist any type of
even low impact.
Exactly. Okay. So as I was, this person was riding a bicycle and fell and hit the ground, even having all the wears and so, the jaw got fractured, because in that area, in the area in which the wisdom tooth is, even without the cyst, that area is an area easy to break because of all the space that the wisdom tooth is keeping in the mouth, in the jaw. So that is another complication that can arise if we keep the wisdom tooth impacted after the period.
Interesting.
And also the next situation that can happen, because as the time passes by, with a cyst related to a wisdom tooth, and the person is becoming old, that cyst can turn into cancer also as well. So as you can see, it's something really
Serious.
really serious to keep impacted wisdom teeth or any other teeth, because wisdom teeth are not only the one that can get impacted. We can get impacted by cuspid, impacted canine, but the wisdom teeth are the more frequent type of teeth that get impacted because of lack of space and the age in which these teeth are coming out. So if after a long period of time you are keeping a wisdom tooth with a cyst without a treatment, that those cells can develop a cancer, and that is a very serious situation.
Wow. I know this guy who we were talking, and he was telling me that, and you're gonna have to have a chat with him, because he was telling me that in his younger days he was doing something and he fell down and he split his jaw, and I'm remembering this whole situation, and whether it had something to do with that. But you'll have a chat with him. You're gonna have a chat with him, and we can even, ask him some things, and we can able to say. So he will have to probably he will understand what caused his situation, to if it really was an impacted tooth that made it break so easily, or whether it was real high impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you would think that when you have an impacted tooth, it's just the inside of your mouth will be affected, and that's about it. But you can you can end up with a broken jawbone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, because of this situation with the wisdom tooth. So now it's necessary to speak about the treatment of this impacted wisdom tooth. And of course, if you have something that is impacted, the only way to treat the situation is by removing the wisdom tooth. And this is the scary part when you speak to the patient about the treatment, and you say, okay, we will need to remove the tooth. Even when you mention by doing a little surgery, for example, people get scared.
Yeah, because the word
Because
surgery.
the word surgery,
Mhm.
and I remember that one of my teachers said there is no little surgery. All surgeries are a serious matter. So, but we need to go and do a surgery to remove the wisdom tooth. Usually we need to break the tooth in two pieces. That is how the surgery is performed. I didn't bring any image because I don't want to go into being so graphic.
Indeed.
Because the image are a little bloody and so it's not nice for our viewers. But again, it's not depending on the level of impactation, the surgery can be easy, medium easy, or a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we have ways to get through it. So, but basically, since there is not a space, what usually we do, we break the crown of the tooth, and we separate the crown from the roots. Once we remove the crown, we get the room to remove the roots, and basically it's that. Once we do that, we need to make sure that the sac that I was talking about has to come out, because if you leave that sac inside, the cells will continue growing, creating a cyst later on. We need to remove that sac. We need to check that the toothless door, there is no cavity related to the wisdom tooth, because sometimes the cavities are too small, are not visible on the X-ray, and we need to stitch the area and wait for the healing process. Of course, after the surgery, or the patient has to follow some instructions, so the recovery will be easy and less painful. Before the surgery, we need to send to our patient some pre-medications, so after the surgery, the recovery will be easy, less painful, and the healing process will go faster. Like usually we send painkillers, we send antibiotics if there is any um, any infection before, we send antibiotics, okay? Or if the patient is having some issues with some kind of issues with immunity and so, we send antibiotics to protect the patient against any infection. I particularly, if the antibiotic is not needed, I don't send antibiotics freely. But if the surgery was a little difficult, for example, then I used to send antibiotics. But something that I send for true are painkillers.
Okay,
Painkillers before and after.
great. Interesting. Is there any other pictures you have, or any other thing that you want to?
Not really, no. As I say, I don't want to bring pictures of surgeries. I have plenty of pictures in my records, but since it's a little bloody and usually people are sometimes sensitive to all these images, so that is not really
Indeed,
necessary.
indeed, yeah.
But what I want to say is that people believe that the surgical procedure is painful, and it's not. It's not. The surgical procedure is not painful at all.
It's done under anesthetic too, right?
Once the patient is numb, what the patient will feel is a sensation of pulling once we are removing the tooth. The person would feel that pulling sensation. Okay? But no pain. If the person is fully numb, there is no pain. And then the after pain, we have to send medications. The medication has to start even before the day of the surgery, continue the day of the surgery, and continue after
A few days after.
a few days after the day of surgery. So the healing process after the surgical procedure will not be so difficult or painful. Also, the patient has to use, for example, the day of the surgery, something that helps a lot is to use a cold pack over the face after the surgery is finished. So by doing so, we are decreasing the primary inflammation for the next 24 hours. The patient will be using a cold pack 20 minutes every 2 hours, okay? And only for 24 hours, because if you continue using cold pack after the 24 hours, then since it's cold, you are decreasing the blood circulation, and then the healing process will turn to be slower. So after 24 hours, what we indicate to the patient is to change that cold pack for a warm pack. By using a warm pack, then the blood will be circulating more. That circulation of the blood will remove the inflammatory liquids and will bring all the time fresh blood full of oxygen and nutrients, and so that will help with the healing process. Okay, the patient will continue with the medication that we indicate depending on the case. If an antibiotic is needed, the person will continue with that antibiotics. The person will continue with the painkillers. Okay, usually sometimes the combination of two different painkillers help a lot, because, for example, steroids that are a type of painkillers that are attacking the pain by one way, and anti-inflammatories, non-steroid anti-inflammatories that are attacking the pain by using another way. Once you combine both ways, then the treatment of the pain and inflammation is more effective. So, but that depends on the case. If the case is a huge surgery, for example, you will combine two different type of painkillers. Okay,
Understand?
with the
Yeah, yeah.
the cold and warm pack and the antibiotics.
Well, I'm happy that you said that, because our viewers and patients especially would understand that you don't have to go through all this pain. There are processes that you can go through, and there are medication to be used that can help to alleviate that pain. I want to say good night to Chris Cami and Charlie Dio. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask tonight, whether it be about wisdom tooth or any other thing, as it revolves around oral hygiene and dentistry, you can let us know. Just send your comments on Facebook, and Doc will be sure to answer it. So now that we have gone through all of this, I always like to say that somebody's at home and they need to do, so they want to know whether they have some situations going on and they need to seek urgent attention. But lots of people will be anxious right now to go in front of the mirror and to do a self-examination and to see whether they have issues. Other than see, so you're saying that some of the issues, and let me see if I can remember some of them, is that if you look in the back of at the wisdom tooth and you see it's out of place, there's a problem. If there isn't a gap for you to clean and that kind of thing, there's a problem. If you see this, the gum, part of the gum over that there is a problem. Those are three that I remember off the bat. What else should they be looking for, or what else tells you that there is a problem and you've been impacted in some way?
A pain that is coming from nowhere, because, for example, this is mostly for young people, while the wisdom tooth is trying to come out and there is not a space, the person will feel pain, and maybe the person has a good oral hygiene, there is no cavities, the person recently went to see a dentist and there is no cavity, there is no reason for the pain. Then you have to think that it's a wisdom tooth trying to come out. Sometimes the pain is coming from the wisdom tooth coming out in a proper position. So in that case, what you have to do is just to take a minor painkiller, okay, a light painkiller to get rid of to relieve that pain, and just wait for the process to finish, okay. And if you receive an examination and the dentist determines that the cause is a wisdom tooth, and after an X-ray, the dentist determined that there is no room for this wisdom tooth, there is not a space, this wisdom tooth will later on give you problems, will be much better to remove that wisdom tooth in an early stage. Because, for example, it's really advisable to do it at the age of 14, once the patient is in that age, is a teenager, because the root of that wisdom tooth are not already formed, so it's easier
to remove,
to open and just pick up the wisdom tooth, because it's like a little shell.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to remove. Once the roots are formed, then that is an next issue, because you have to break the tooth. The surgery is more difficult and complicated. You have to break the crown, remove the crown, and remove the roots. So it's really advisable, once the dentist determines that there is a wisdom tooth growing up and there is not a space in the mouth, it's much better to take them out once the patient is really young, because the surgery is more easy, and it's not like a surgery that has to be performed when the patient is an adult.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Pico, that was quite something to understanding all of this of why the wisdom tooth is giving so much problems, why it seems to be disappearing, and also we're talking about how we can fix some of the problems associated with it. If tonight's program goes off and I don't mention something, I will feel that would have done an injustice to myself and to many others. On this program, at the end of the program, we always talk about, talk to people and tell them to drive carefully. Over the last 2 weeks, there have been some horrific accidents on our roadways. There have been some accidents, like 2 days ago, there was one on at close to Pico place called Greenwich Park, I think. 4 persons lost their life, 2 persons lost their life in Berbice over the weekend. Lots of people losing their lives on motorbikes and so on. Man, we're losing our people so stupidly, right? We have to slow, we gotta slow. You guys, you gotta slow down, man. Slow down. Let's do this. We don't have to. Why are we speeding? Why are we doing this to ourselves? I'm appealing, and we're appealing. This platform on the Freddie Kisun and Gildari show, they talk about it all the time. Everybody's talking. We gotta slow down. When you see somebody speeding, you don't have to go behind them. You don't have to be racing with them. It's not a drag race. We are racing ourselves into the grave. That's what we're doing. We're racing ourselves to death. We're seeing who can die faster when we do that. If you're gonna have a drink, take it moderately. Try to be under the required limit. And let's do our best to take care of what are we doing? We're caring our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, and our children. Children are left without parents. Children are left without guardians because we are reckless on the road. And it really touches a nerve for me, Dr. Pico. Honestly, every time I see this, it really does touch a nerve for me. Because the other thing is that you can be careful, but the other person on the other side is not careful. And innocently, we get hit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pray every day and ask God to take care of you. I'm a God-fearing man. I pray every day and ask him to take care of me and my friends and family and everybody else that's, but you can only do as much as you can, and the onus is upon us to spread this message every chance we get, to tell people, man, you know what? No. There's lots of vehicles on this road now, and it's getting worse, and it's crazy out there. But we gotta stop. We gotta slow down, and we have to take time to take care of ourselves and the people that we need to take care of. Also, we want to say a special good night to all the women folks that are watching this program, and all the women folk that are your patients, and to every woman out there.
Oh yes.
Want to say happy International Women's Day to you. The theme is embrace equity this year, and yes, we embrace equity. We understand the roles that women are playing in our lives, and I want to thank our operator Andre for reminding me about this. Andre, he alone is working tonight. He's manning the ship. He's captain and first mate at the same time. He's doing a fantastic job running this program. He's been doing some really good work here. So we want to recognize our women folk and just say to them that we recognize you, we understand you, and anybody you want to say a special, perhaps your family back home or your sisters.
To my assistant at the office.
Yes.
I want to wish her. I told her already, but I want to use the platform to tell her happy Women's Day.
Yes.
All my female patients.
Yeah. I know your assistant is an amazing one and wonderful, very professional person. I've been there and I've dealt with her. She is. We got to get her out on this program one day.
I am trying, but
she's shy.
She's shy, too shy. But
we'll bring her.
She knows plenty about the business, and I'm so happy to have her on board.
Okay, all right. So, Dr. Pico, thank you so much again for doing this. We do this every Wednesday, and we will continue to do this because our job is to bring education from this aspect to the public. So next week might be a little bit interesting. Mm-hmm. To our viewers out there, you got to tune in next week. It will be interesting because the program is going to change some dynamics a little bit, and you're going to see what we're going to do next week. So again, Dr. Picos, thanks so much
Thank you so much.
for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much.
And we're going to do
My
this
pleasure.
again next week. To your viewers out there, I've said my bit, and as it relates to us and the driving, it's nonsensical most of the time. So let's do our best to take care of our people. So as I usually say, ciao for now.